Hello there, my name is Wallace Currie, and over the past couple of years I've been studying a Nuffield scholarship, looking into pathways into agriculture through rural education, youth development and consumer engagement. Which takes me to 11 years ago, sickeningly, where I started my degree in agriculture. I spent 4 years studying that course and did around 40 hours of practical training. For me, with a farm at home and access to a network in the industry, that was okay. But for those without that, that was a real challenge. Fast forward 6 years, I found myself with a degree in agriculture, a master's in food security, and now on the other side of the classroom, teaching the future of our sector. I did, however, find myself remaining frustrated with restrictions preventing student opportunity. So I went on a journey to try and find what solid rural education looks like. Now, 23 weeks of global travel across 6 continents and 15 countries, I went on a journey that I could never have envisaged. I realised in Scotland what we offered was much better than I was probably aware of. Constructive alignment, theory grounded in practice, and a real opportunity to get some hands-on experience for students. But external support was so much more accessible to the US, New Zealand and others. Companies were eager to invest in the future. Universities created clear pathways to facilitate that support. Shearing halls, handling facilities and parlours all donated for brand presence in front of what was their future customer. That said, however, I think it's important to mention that what is offered in the UK truly holds up with a lot of the rest of the world. The role of youth groups cannot be overstated. Organisations in the UK, such as Young Farmers, offer fantastic socially led CPD, be that professional or personal. Organisations the world over in varying countries offer this curricularly integrated, and for me, that is our next step. The Future Farmers of America, or FFA, has over 1 million members throughout the United States. This is people from farming, not from farming, contributing to, learning about and building towards careers in the sector. 4-H sits somewhere between the FFA and Young Farmers, allowing for some individual organised activities and also school partnerships where necessary, all encompassing food and farming education. We see examples of youth groups almost on steroids, focusing on continuous professional development. A journey to Rwanda to meet the Rwandan Youth Agribusiness Forum, which aims to bring people into the agri-food sector. You can't just join because you're a certain age. You have to be under 35 and actively aiming to be or already contributing to the agri-food sector in the country. This gave fantastic success stories from Ag Communications with Jean-Claude Nayamagabo, the 7th most followed man in Rwanda, or a vertical farming setup by Christian Irakoze of Izaniza. All of this is great, but what does it mean? And that's been a question I've been asking myself for the best part of 2 years. I think the conclusion I've came to is that consumer engagement is the first pillar of rural education. That could be a discussion with one of the over 100,000 people not from farming coming to the Highland Show every year, or it could be the increasing interest in podcasts and social media influencers. Maybe it's Jeremy Clarkson, Caleb Cooper and Harriet Cowan showing the rest of the world what farming means and involves, and that's a pathway for someone to think, I might go study agriculture after all. That, however, is a discussion for another day and would definitely take longer than just this video. For now, we're going to focus on education, both at that academic level when someone's decided, I will go and study this topic, but also at a school level, so that the consumer, both through that pupil directly and also parents as well, understand where their food comes from. So, what does that mean, I guess? Early years education is our first attempt at consumer engagement. Children learn through experience and their parents then often learn through them. Between 0 and 5, the brain is at its absolute peak neuroplasticity, which means the most is going in. This is an opportunity to integrate farm-based content through books, through video and through discussion. And then when that period of 5 to 12 comes on, it's time to really start building the blocks and understanding the food system. There's many fantastic examples of both teachers and organisations creating this content to go into both our primary and secondary schools. Unfortunately, until it's integrated at a curricular level through government, we're fighting an uphill battle. Some fantastic people started a petition with 14,000 signatures to embed rural education into the curriculum. That shows there's interest, but not phenomenal demand. It probably should also be mentioned that given it was over 10,000 signatures, it had to have a response. The governmental response was essentially a 2,000 word email saying, "You already have it." That said, education is actually a devolved power. So in the UK, we are going to have 4 discussions, 4 teams pushing forward to integrate what we need to see in the curriculum over the coming years. Could you play a part in that? Where that is part of the solution, this is a bigger challenge than that. With a big challenge comes massive opportunity. We as a sector have to champion what we do in British agriculture, not just through fancy petitions and large-scale discussions with policy, but also in your local community. Talk about what you do, promote what we do as a sector. And as that slowly finds its way into the school system, that will bring people not from the sector into youth groups, experience agriculture in a soft sense, and then find their way into the sector through employment or further education. All of that said, when I started this journey, I was an agricultural lecturer. Am I still now? No. Will I be in the future? Almost definitely. I walked into Nuffield thinking the solution to this was making college, university and apprenticeships better. It is, but it's not the basis on which we have to build on. Down the line, working on university level education, college level education, apprenticeships to integrate a more holistic model that looks at a portfolio based system integrating both practical and theoretical is the future. Until we embed the importance of the rural sector from childhood to adolescence, I don't think further and higher education is as important as I once did. So, I think this is where I end for Nuffield. Everything I've covered today, I truly believe will be part of my professional life. For Nuffield, however, I have to conclude something. A world in which we utilise primary and secondary education alongside youth groups and a more holistic further and higher education model is how we increase both cultural and cognitive diversity in the sector. And I think that's how we provide a more all-encompassing, better understood and resilient food system that caters for the needs, desires and preferences of everyone, be they a consumer or be they a producer. Thank you for listening. If you think we could work together in the future and collaborate to try and work towards what I've just spoken about for the past however many minutes, please get in touch. There's so many thank yous that have to go into making what I've done over the last 2 years possible. Employers for allowing me the time off, Nuffield for accepting me in, the McRobert Trust for sponsoring this scholarship, friends, family, partners, and of course, the 2024 Nuffield year. Thank you everyone, and speak to you soon.